Our Lightsworn deck box is now up, and the first batch is going to come with the Field Center. Now, honestly, I do think that this design is relatively amazing, especially when you get into the inside works here with the Minerva. And then the outside going to be the front, the top, and the back. And this is honestly a phenomenal piece. So leave the link down below so you guys can grab yours today. We have Yubel for you today. Oh, that's going to be something I'm going to enjoy seeing in the TCG. We have Majespecters as well. And is that Laval Snake Eye? Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. Hi, Yubel. How are you? Know what I find very interesting about this is they're not branching out unlike the other Yubels. It's just this mini Unchained package generating some advantage. And we're playing this Tricorn Consort here. As long as a monster's in your possession is destroyed by a battle card effect, we can special summon this card from the hand. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, target one monster in the graveyard, both with the same type and attribute as a monster you control, and add that monster to your hand. This is just recurable fodder for Yubel, which is actually kind of cool. Now, the biggest things that I will say here, I would like to see an extension throughout the Yubel package, you know, maybe a stepping stone for some of the extra value that you could get here, but they opted to, I don't feel like they really needed it. This just feels like this is a lot of board-breaking good stuff to rift through your opponent's value so you can kind of do your thing. And you've also got a Splash Unchained package in here as well. I mean, Escape plus Shavara is, you know, that's what we were seeing with some of the other Labyrinth good stuff trying this package, where, you know, you attempt to set up this good value and kind of go from there. And then, of course, just a normal day in the Dimensional Shifter domain. You know, I don't think this deck really gives a crap about resolving Shifter. You know, you just kind of gas through your opponent, and I don't really feel like you care all that much, which is kind of cool. And then, of course, a deck that has the abilities to access Solemn Judgment. You know, I will say for a lot of the craziness in your modern era meta, this might be one of the more interesting challengers you can have. But like I said, maybe more Yubels to kind of extend through, you know, when one of them gets popped, you know, try to climb on up to some of the little extra value that you can get. And, you know, the super poly good stuff is pretty good. All right, what else we got back here? I feel like I should have saw somebody was going to try out Majespecter good stuff at some point with super heavy samurai cards. Like, let's call it what it is. You know that somebody was going to try out this idea, and it was bound to actually work. But what's this? Secret Sanctuary of the Spellcasters. When a monsters accept a spellcast type monster's no more special summon to your opponent's side of the field while you control another face-up spell card, and your opponent does not control any face-up spell cards, a monster cannot attack or activate its effects this turn. This applies even when this card leaves the field. If you do not control a spellcaster type monster, destroy this card. This is actually kind of interesting for this deck. So basically, this gives us a jamming-esque effect on the opponent's field so that they won't be able to do anything. Plus, let's call what it is, all of your little broken Majespecter cards along the way. These non-targeting clauses that these things have on these things is actually pretty insane. Like, it's actually a little bit of a problem to handle here. Now your side deck down here. I do see we're playing triple Gamma Seal, so we do have Kaiju access. You do have the Heralds for your Purely matchup. Believe it or not, Purely still is a very working, very real deck that will ruin your day, and you need to find as many ways as possible to try to detour that god-awful matchup. Like, and this at least gives you the chance to do so. Though, you have to actually hard draw this, because I do notice we're not playing any Thrust or anything like that, which, call what it is, I feel like, at this point. You know, the value that Thrust can give you is very strong for this, but I guess we don't really feel like we need it. This is actually really kind of cool to see Saratobi actually seeing some playtime in here. So, okay, overall, I think that this build is pretty interesting. I will have to wait and see. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more Majespecter good stuff, especially in the TCG. All right. The first thing I'm going to say is, yes, this is very expensive. Yes, you're not going to be able to play something very fun like this on a very casual level. But let me tell you what you can play here, though. Rekindling target? not a rekindling target. Not a rekindling target. But, Pobbler's also a rekindling target. So, in a really messed up world out here, rekindling is actually just kind of gas for this deck. This is able to spawn out all of these little monsters, and you can put this pressure on your opponent to go into such a crazy game state position to be able to do like all of the synchro plays. Yes, Formula Synchron's a stupid card. Handmaiden's a tuner, guess what? But you're suddenly turning these into like draw twos off of a rekindling. And I know a lot of people haven't looked at wanting to play this cards because they're like, well, this is too much money. Yeah, understandable. But if you are sick of playing, full extension combo, gas 9,000, Fire King / regular Snake Eyes, give this Lavaful stuff a chance, Just because you have this package doesn't mean that, you have to be a meta slave. You can have some more fun and try out some of the stuff, or, maybe somebody wants to take a break from Fire and you're going to borrow their stuff. You can play stupid decks like this. Like, things like this is actually kind of cool. Being able to also add a Handmaiden off of this is kind of funny, actually. I don't recommend you actually do that, but, hey, the more you actually know for your interactions. Yeah, I did not... You gotta humor me for a second. I haven't seen Lavavuls in, 100 years. And this is so happy to see. Like, the meta is in such an interesting place. Hey, we have Horus Adventure. Well, okay, so the first thing I want to say is we're actually playing Horus the Black Flame Deity. Okay, I have a mixed relationship with this card. At least with the field spell, you can get, like a draw 1 / the big guy himself can board wipe, I suppose. But, I feel like your interactions with this deck, you got a lot of build-up with this thing. And, of course, hey, we're actually playing crossouts. To be fair, I feel like... Does this really matter? I don't think so. I mean, I guess it stinks if you get cut off. Also, Ash on the Imseti is very upsetty. I've learned the hard way here that you probably do want to see this card, because getting cut off of this literally can put you at 2 cards, 3 cards. But then that also means that you do have to have this on the absolute high roll. So that's something interesting. Yeah, you do have some utility options down here. Oh boy. We do play the Cypher Dragon. Okay. You do play 62 full armor. Coach King for the massive draws. And yes, we do play Infection Buzz King in here as well. And of course, this Locals does have a Purely Duelist. So a lot more people are going to be playing the Boom Mock back here. And I will tell you, this card is very, very strong. Literally a free detach off of an opponent's monster. Some threatening effect that's leaning on the opponent's field, you are able to immediately out with Boom Mock. And that's very, very important, all right? Do not underestimate immediate answers to these troublesome cards, all right? Like, having the chance to out these stupid, problematic cards is very, very good for you. But outside of that, Horus Adventure, good stuff. I like this. This is the kind of stuff that you do want to see in your meta actually doing well. And from the very last deck out of this event, hey, look, it's purely... Now, what's very interesting is they've had to kick the Happiness into the side deck. Is this normal? This build also does not play any Dimensional Fissures, but instead you see the Soul Releases in here as the option card for them to be able to try to paralyze the opponent with, which I feel like on the massive high roll out here, that this can be a little bit rough, but I don't know. I've talked to a couple Purely players and they said they prefer the Dimensional Fissure to this, but I don't know. It's very opinionated, and these are very early results. So I feel like we'll have to wait and see, which scale we kind of tip towards here. But this card is very strong for what it wants to do. Double Leap, I also now feel like this is pretty normal at this point as well. You want to make sure that the 1 leap can go ahead and reset value for you, and then you can use the second one to kind of finish off a game. And that's why we've been seeing people branching towards the 2 right now, because this deck, ever since Sleepy got limited, it's forced to make some very subpar calls to try to adjust to the meta. And unfortunately, you can't always perform very well out here, but still seeing that this deck is finding a way to do its thing, good. A lot of interesting stuff out of this. I'm very excited to see how things are going to continue to evolve. But for now, please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.